Let's start from the beginning. When the riots took place in Charlottesville, President Trump had an event scheduled and made these carefully selected words as the mayhem had just started, and carefully selected this statement because he has not received a briefing on all the facts yet.
But we're closely following the terrible events unfolding in Charlottesville, Virginia. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. It's been going on for a long, long time.
A few days later, the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, decided to do a town hall meeting on the fake news network CNN, where he gave this controversial response to a question he was asked.
The President and I spoke on Monday morning about the need for moral clarity, about the need at this very difficult time in our country to have a morally clear message to absolutely and singularly condemn this repulsive bigotry. He agreed with that, and he did that later that day on Monday. And I thought his speech on Monday was pitch perfect. Then the next day, I think it was in New York on an infrastructure press conference, in answer to a question, I think he made comments that were much more morally ambiguous, much more confusing. And I do think he could have done better. I think he needed to do better. I actually think what he did 2 days ago in commending the peaceful protests against the hate in Boston was a good start. And I think just what I heard, 25 minutes ago, was exactly what a president needs to say, what we needed to hear. So I do believe that he messed up in his comments on Tuesday when it sounded like a moral equivocation, or at the very least moral ambiguity, when we need extreme moral clarity.
Now this is the favorite part of my video. Listen to what President Trump said back then when the media and Democrats began the relentless attack on him, and then see just how prophetic he really was.
I did it the last time.
And he called on it again, linking the
Senator McCain?
To the alt-right.
Senator McCain, you mean the one who voted against Obamacare?
And he said
who is Senator? You mean Senator McCain who voted against us getting good health care?
McCain said that the alt-right is behind these attacks, and he linked that same group to those who perpetrated the attack in Charlottesville.
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm sure Senator McCain must know what he's talking about. But when you say the alt-right, define alt-right to me. You define it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying,
define it for me. Come on, let's go.
Senator McCain defined them as the same group.
Okay, what about the alt-left that came charging at him? Excuse me. What about the alt-left that came charging at the, as you say, the alt-right? Do they have any semblance of guilt? Let me ask you this. What about the fact that they came charging with clubs in their hands, swinging clubs? Do they have any problem? I think they do. So, as far as I'm concerned, that was a horrible, horrible day. Wait a minute. I'm not finished. I'm not finished, fake news. That was a horrible day. I will tell you something. I watched those very closely, much more closely than you people watched it. And you had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent. And nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it right now. You had a group on the other side that came charging in without a permit, and they were very, very violent. Go ahead.
Do you think that what you call the alt-left is the same as neo-Nazis?
All of those people, excuse me, I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups, but not all of those people were neo-Nazis, believe me. Not all of those people were white supremacists by any stretch. Those people were also there because they wanted to protest the taking down of a statue, Robert E. Lee. So, excuse me, and you take a look at some of the groups and you see, and you know it if you were honest reporters, which in many cases you're not, but many of those people were there to protest the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. So, This week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week, and is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
To him. And so to me, I don't care if it's a George Washington statue or a Thomas Jefferson statue or a Robert E. Lee statue. They all need to come down.
Let's fast forward to the present day. After Antifa once again caused a riot and completely destroyed the city of Berkeley this past weekend, many journalists and Democrats are now denouncing Antifa as a violent organization on the same level as the KKK, just as President Trump predicted weeks ago. Here's a statement put out by all people, Nancy Pelosi, condemning the group. What upsets me the most at this time period, we have yet to hear from the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, and for him to take back his comments that he made about President Trump and give him the kudos he deserves for being spot on with his initial response.